Neighbor tells you about the unstable man in the cul-de-sac who claims to have been abducted by aliens. And then there's the woman in town who claims to see Bigfoot all the time. Your boss, who you greatly admire, confides in you that he has started speaking with his wife daily when he gets home from work. She died 8 years ago. It's hard to believe this stuff, and you write these stories off as overactive imaginations. Are these people seeking attention, or are they a bit unstable? No matter what you think, if you're like me, you walk away wondering, what if that was true? The What If It's True podcast features stories by ordinary people like you and me. Something has happened to them, something so strange they are in agony unless they tell others. My name is Cameron Buckner, and the What If It's True podcast is available at whatifitstruepodcast.com and on all available podcast apps.
Mark, we're going live.
Can you hear me now, Larry?
Barely.
Really?
No, I can hear you.
Okay.
Internet's glitchy for some reason. It's either my end or your end, but with all the ice and all that, who knows?
Yeah.
Are you staying warm?
I am. I've got that wood stove pumping on 8 cylinders. Let's just hope that I still got coals left after the show to get her going again.
Well, we're going to cut it as short as we can, so we'll get it going. So far, my fire stayed on. I don't know where the closest substation is to my house, but with this ice, it could go down at any time.
Yeah. So they sent you home from work early today, didn't they?
Yeah, they did, but don't tell everybody.
Whoops.
Oh, the roads weren't that bad this morning or this afternoon. The Millington was worse than Eads.
Huh.
I guess we're a little further north. I don't know, but 1 or 2 degrees makes a big difference. But there wasn't any sleet or anything in the roads down closer to Eads. But you get to Millington, it's laying everywhere.
Yeah. You know, it's kind of funny. I've been up since 4 this morning, and before the sun came up, wasn't ice coming down for some reason.
Yeah.
But soon as the sun started breaking through, it turned to ice. And I've had tree limbs breaking. I had to get them off fences. I had some pine limbs that were in my drive right at the street that broke off. So it's kind of been a cleanup today.
Yeah. Well, tomorrow's not going to be any better.
Uh-uh.
I don't think, but I don't know. I talked to Dan Ricky earlier, and he said Vicky got a positive COVID test.
Oh.
Yeah, but so far, I don't think she's having any bad symptoms, but we need to remember them in our prayers for sure. But I don't know.
Chick Feed told me she thinks she has it again.
Really?
Yeah, she told me that today. And then her power went out, so that's not helpful. I don't even know if she'll be able to have the juice to be able to come on.
Yeah.
In chat. But I don't know why I haven't gotten it. I was around you when you had it, before you knew you had it, you know, I've been around so many different people that's had it, and I don't know why.
When we're
I
off,
good.
when
Huh?
we're off the air, I'll tell you. Oh
I do
gosh.
take zinc every day
Oh
since
yeah,
this stuff started up.
that's what does it.
You know, Kane Michael told me about that, and I don't know, over a year ago, I guess.
Yeah.
And so I've been pretty faithful about taking that every night.
Yeah, I've been taking my vitamins too. They're Flintstones, but I still take them.
I still love baby aspirins.
Well, the zinc vitamin I have tastes like baby aspirin.
Ah.
So I don't know. Oh, where do you start?
Well, I guess we we always, since it's coming up, we'll just throw it out there about the meet and greet. That we hope everyone that wants to come can come. And there you go.
I don't think that's it, but whatever, Bama.
And if y'all want to come to the meet and greet, we got a celebrity coming in. And Larry just flashed his name up there, Bama Murdoch.
Yep, he'll be there. I believe Kane and Matthias will be there.
Yep.
Cheryl. There'll be several that are going to be there. I think Charlie Raymond's coming in for a day, I think Saturday.
Yeah.
With Kentucky
Okay.
Bigfoot. Yeah. And there's some others. Some don't want to be named and some do. So we'll just leave it there. We're looking forward to everybody being there. Can't wait. Mark,
And,
go ahead.
Well,
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say that, you know, campouts are not too different from primitive camping. You have to be prepared.
You do?
You have to have a game plan.
You got a plan?
Yep, I got a plan.
No wonder I suck at it.
Well, that's because you wait till 30 minutes before you need to go out the door.
That's true. I do need to find my backpack. It's somewhere out in that shed, I think.
Oh, I remember us throwing that junk in that shed. That's not going to be pretty.
I've been in there digging for hunting stuff and everything else, so there's no telling. No telling.
So we do get questions from time to time about our primitive camping. So we just thought tonight we would just kind of go over some of our essentials. And if you saw Cam Buckner's film, Trackways, Kane Michael mentioned that going into the elements, that you need to have a plan, and you do need to test different things out. And so I think we've got a primitive camp coming up in 2 weeks.
2 weeks?
It's about 2 weeks, isn't it?
Well, remind me in a week to start packing.
I'll call you the night before we leave. But he mentioned that you do need to try different things out and see how things work. And I know now this primitive camp that we're going to is actually where we filmed the Trackways film. So we're going, but I think we're all doing something different. I don't know about Spencer, but I know you're doing something different. And I've done this other little thing before. So we're going to see how it lasts for what, 4 nights and 3 days. And that's a long time, isn't it, Larry?
Yeah, it is, but it goes by really quick once you get in there, honestly.
Yeah.
It does. Because all you got on your mind at that point is getting out and going to that burger joint and getting that hot fudge sundae. That's my driving force behind the whole thing.
Not mine, Bama.
Oh, Mark, you know I'm a good friend. I would never snitch on you.
And I'm going to tell you, I meant to call you right after I ate that homemade chocolate fried pie. That was the best fried pie I've ever had in my life.
Oh, man, I got to tell you, that fried coconut pie was pretty good too. I was thinking if I just had 3 more of them. If y'all are ever in Memphis, go to Fat Larry's, and it ain't my restaurant. I'm fat and I'm Larry, but it ain't me. It's another Fat Larry that has a restaurant. Man, the brisket is good. The coconut cake is good. The strawberry cake is good. The chocolate cake is good. And they got fried pies that are delicious. And they're not even our sponsor. Well, they sponsored me about 5 pounds. Oh, man. It's good, though. You want to go there and eat tomorrow?
Man, I could.
Don't tell Bama.
So, what are your 2 most essential things that you do to prepare for primitive camping?
Did you ask me?
Yeah. You're the only one in here.
Well, it depends on the time of year, of course. But this time of year, your clothing is number 1 on my list because you're going to be out there for 3 days. And if you get soaking wet, you're in trouble. And I know a time or two, we went out there and got our boots soaking wet and our socks soaking wet.
It might be a good time to show the video.
All right. We can show that.
This is the area where we're going. I used my plot watcher to kind of record us the first day whenever we got there and setting up our camps. I believe we all stayed in hammocks on this except for Spencer. And Spencer, he had a plan though. He basically had like a little tarp tent. Yeah. And he heated up rocks in the fire. And when he got ready to go to bed, he put those rocks in there, and he hollered at me after about 10 minutes and said, "Come here, I want you to look in here." And I looked in there, and it was warm. I'm telling you, those rocks put off some heat, and he had warmth in there.
But he's no longer with us. No, Spencer, he has done a lot of bushcraft, and he's actually went to survival schools and stuff where we're just bumbling through it with common sense and luck.
Yeah.
Spencer's actually had some training, and Matthias is actually going to get his certification here this spring, I believe is what he said.
Yep.
So what we do is just common sense. You see that long tree that's horizontal with the ground there?
Uh-huh.
It wasn't there the first 2 times we went.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, somebody was like, hey, we're going to let y'all know y'all shouldn't be here. Or I don't know what that means. What does that mean? We're going to hang your carcasses upside down by that pole?
I don't know, but if you're watching that video, it looks like it's about 6 feet above X, and it's going horizontal. And it was strange because that was the second or third time that we have camped there, and we have never seen those signs of human activity in this vicinity around here. You may have a fisherman that may, hike up the river to do a little trout fishing, but there's just as good of other places to fish. I don't know why you would, hike a mile and a half in just to do some fishing there.
I don't know, but we may try it.
Yeah.
Oh.
For me, I guess my essential things is you have to make sure that you could survive the elements. And that's what Larry was talking about, according to the weather, that you are prepared to be able to stay warm or stay cool and hydrated, depending on the season.
Yep.
So, and you have to have shelter and fire. Those you're unable to cook without fire. Of course, you could. I mean, if you went 24 hours without eating, I think the only one in here that would die would be Larry.
Yeah, probably, because everybody'd kill me.
So
tired of putting up with me.
As you can see from this video clip, I mean, it snowed for at least a day before we got there. We drove up in the snow, and the wood is soaking wet. So how do you start a fire when all of your wood's wet? Well, that's something that we kind of learned from Really Big Monkey. And I would suggest that if you go out into the woods, that you do watch bushcraft type videos. So, because you could go out for a day hike and twist your ankle and not be able to walk. And you would need the supplies in your backpack to be able to get you through the night. A Mauer blanket. I mean, they may not even weigh an ounce, and they can fold up into into a size that your cell phone is. But you would be able to find you some natural cover and be able to wrap up in a blanket and stay warm. Would you be able to start a fire? I've got a knife here that a friend of mine made for me. Larry, you have one too. and it's a bushcraft knife. It has a ferro rod with it so that you can get a fire going. I would have some type of knife that you could use to get a fire going, and always have a way to start a fire. You know, an easy way is a big lighter. You know, stick a big lighter in your pocket. But for hiking in the wilderness, or primitive camping, or bushcraft, one thing that I suggest to people is you need to practice your skills before you go into the woods. You don't take much to step out in your front yard and pick up some limbs off the ground and see if you can get a fire going. And that would be a night and day difference in inclement weather.
Yeah.
If you had a fire going, and if you had a twisted ankle, and you couldn't get out, you were having to crawl out, and you're not going to be able to make it to your vehicle before night falls, then you need to go ahead and set you up some type of shelter to get you through. And if you have to crawl around and pick up sticks and limbs and to get you a fire going, do that. But like what you see here in this video, where we had the snow coming down earlier, one little trick that we do with wet wood is, if you baton it to the center core of the wood, that wood is not wet. And so you can baton the wood, the pieces that you baton off from it, once you get your fire going, you lay beside the fire and dry them out and start building up your supply. So I think it's important that if you go out into the woods, that you do have some skills, proven skills that you can do. One of my favorite tools is my machete, the El Chapo. And this thing's got a 1/4-inch spine on it.
Dave would be so proud of you.
Yeah, he would. And but it's this, along with a little handsaw, would be invaluable. And this you wear on your belt, and you don't even know that you have it on. And we all know, how light the little handsaws are. But it could get you through the night.
Definitely.
Pronounce that name, Larry.
Attilio Panin. It's close.
Yeah.
It's within 10 country miles.
Finding fat wood. That's a great point.
Yeah.
One easy way of finding fat wood is to look for pine trees and look for where limbs might have broken off. Look for knots. There you will find fat wood.
And that stuff does work wonders. Definitely. Yeah. A good water filtration system too, if you're going to be out there.
I'm going to tell you, that's invaluable. And I mean, you can pick them up at your local Walmart. And Larry gave me one, and I love it.
You think they're still good?
Yeah, why wouldn't it be?
I don't know. I'm just afraid some bacteria has grown in it in the past couple of months or something. I don't know.
Well, if you clean them out when you get home and let them air dry with the cap off from it, I don't think that you're going to have any problems.
Well, that's good. We'll go and see. Worst
But
thing I can do is fertilize oak trees out there.
I've done that before.
Yeah, you have. You brought down a white oak.
I didn't know whether I boiled my water long enough or if it was that deer jerky that Mike McSwain brought to us.
Since it affected you and not me, I'd have to say it was something other than that because I ate the deer jerky and drank the water.
Yeah. Have a little fire starting kit. Man, I cannot remember who gave me that fire starting kit at our last camp out. It was either Spencer or Con Squatch. Maybe they can post in there who it was, but it is really cool, and that's in my fire starting bag. And to be able to start a fire, if let's say it's raining, you will notice in the video that we slung a tarp over the fire pit. That way, when it's raining, it's not going to rain out the fire. So that's another thing that you can do. Cotton balls and Vaseline, excellent fire starter. I think in this little video clip here, Rodney bit off more than he chewed that weekend. But this video coming up here is what I'm going to be taking in a couple of weeks. It's just a tarp tent is all it is. And you string rope around a tree. You'll have a top rope, and then about 2 feet below it, you have the rope go on both sides of the tree. And you'll see in a minute where we hang the side tarps and throw up a tarp over in between them. And whenever you put the caps on the side of your tarp tent, you leave that 2-foot gap at the top on both ends. And that way you are able to start a fire on the inside of your tarp tent. And there's nothing better than whenever it gets cold and you've got a fire right there. And if you've got your wood processed, if you wake up in the middle of the night cold, then you don't even have to roll out of your sleeping bag to get it going again. But I hope Rodney learned a little bit of this. I think I saw him in chat a while ago. And boy, I'm glad you're back, Larry.
It all went away. I didn't know if I was coming back or not. But I made it for now. Yeah, Rodney's in chat.
So I was just talking about this tarp tent, and this is what I'm going to use on our primitive camp out that Matthias Tipton put together for us.
I've got a sleeping bag with holes burned all in it from this trip. Man. So that's what you're going to use? Really?
That's what I'm going to do. I would bring out more stuff than my machete and knife, but unlike Larry, I've already started packing for this trip. And so I got I got probably 75% of what I'll be taking in my backpack.
I have like 0% in mine right now. I don't even know where my backpack's at. I know where my waterproof socks are, and they'll be going with me though.
Yeah.
I guarantee you that. The last trip we took were one of the best pieces of equipment I ever invested in. It was great.
What's something else that tips for people that when you go out like this, what you can do?
Well, this don't really have anything to do with necessarily camping. It's more safety. And I purchased a GPS that has the SOS feature on it, that if you push that button, it sends your location to somebody. And if they can't get in touch with you within a certain amount of time, they contact search and rescue. I mean, because this area we're going to, you can break your leg or ankle real quick or worse, because the terrain is real rocky. Some of it's steep. There's a lot of slick algae rocks in the creek. I know I busted my butt a couple of times because of that, but you'll think you're fine, and next thing you know, your feet are up over your head. I did that at the boat dock down here at the lake.
Yeah.
Them old guys fishing on the dock, they got a good laugh out of that. But you just don't know what's going to happen, and it's good because there's no cell signal in here. So that GPS, it works off satellite, and I don't know how instantaneous that it really is, but at least you know you have contact with somebody. And the unit is capable of texting a cell phone through the satellite also. So it could save your life. And
we actually tested that out. I needed to send a text, and because we were going to stay a day longer than what I had thought.
Yeah.
And so that does work. That, and you do, man, I'm not one to you need some kind of first aid kit. And I'm the world's worst. You know, I'm thinking, all right, in order to keep from bleeding out, I can just take some duct tape. You know?
Yeah. That would do it. You may lose a limb, but it would stop the bleeding.
Yeah. And and I do have a small little, first aid thing that I keep, but that's something that I need to improve on. And
I need to improve on my packing ability.
You look like Mr. Haney walking in the woods.
I'm terrible. And I've got all the little things that show you where you put stuff in your backpack and all that.
Yeah.
And whenever it's taking the food out, that's not going to happen. I'm carrying food in with me.
Yeah. Even if you got to eat it off the ground.
That's right. I don't care. I should have.
Now, speaking of food, whenever we go out, I have found one tip that works good for us. Larry and I both like eating steak. And so what I will do is I will put the steaks in a gallon freezer bag along with the condiments, steak sauce, Worcestershire sauce, let them marinate in there for 24 hours. And I will put them in the freezer and freeze them. And that way, when you go out in the woods in cold temperatures, your meat will stay fresh. It will stay cold, and you will actually, the first couple of days, you will actually have to thaw them out so that you can cook them. So that's me and Larry's going to eat in the woods. I think it's important that you get plenty of protein and you're taking in enough calories for what you're doing. Whenever you're doing all this hiking and climbing ridges and mountains and crossing streams, you need to make sure that you have enough calories.
Yes, you do.
Oh, Mark, stitch up a shin.
What I noticed was the 12 miles in the backcountry at midnight.
Yeah.
That's painful enough without having to stitch up your shin.
Yeah. Maybe we need to go out with Mark sometime.
Maybe we need to quit talking about primitive camping.
Put the link up there. We'll get Mark on here. Teach us something.
Yeah, really. He'll be able to provide food for us, killing moose out there. That'd be good.
So, what's some creature comforts that you can bring that won't just way too much wear you out on the hike in?
Man, about the only thing is your smartphone, because you got a camera and it does record audio. It's not great, but it is a lightweight creature comfort that we have that you can carry in without any problem. Other than that, I don't know. Everything hanging off my pack usually. I know the equipment in the past that I've taken in, I'm going to cut back a whole lot on that this time, because I normally don't even use a lot of it and take it. I probably will take my camera kit with the extra batteries just for pictures and some video, but I really hate to carry that. But I can tie that off on my pack and it don't really bother that much. But I can't think of really any other creature comfort thing I'm going to carry. I thought about carrying that little buddy heater in, but I don't know that I will. It'll depend on what the weather is. I mean, if it's down in the teens or something,
yeah,
but I doubt it. I mean, that small tent that I bought, it's a one man, my body heat should heat it up enough. And the sleeping bag, besides the hose I got burned in it from that trip with Rodney, should be good. So I don't know.
You go take some candles in, like Kane?
No, his 1 candlewatt fire didn't work too well, I don't think.
Yeah.
Not as well as he thought it was going to, but
that was one of the things that we were talking about at the beginning, that you need to try different things out and see how it works, because it very well could have worked for him.
Yeah,
because he did basically turn that hammock into a tent. You know, he put a tarp over the whole kit and caboodle, you know, to sit there and try to keep the elements out. And I thought it was a great idea.
Yeah. Yeah, Mark, whenever we just drive up and camp, we have the little, but well, it's a Mr. Buddy that we use. And we have tarps on our tent usually whenever we're at a place we can drive to. And we have not had any trouble not waking up. We woke up every time so far. Next time may be different, but I do have the little buddy that just screws on the top of the little propane tanks, and it puts out quite a bit of heat too. And that's what I thought about hauling in there, but it's going to have to be really, really cold for me to haul that in there. And I'm hoping as late in the month as we're going that it will be mild. If it's not below 30 at night, it ain't that bad.
Yeah.
Now 22, that'll freeze the snot in your nose.
Yeah. But our hammocks, the ones that Cam Buckner gave us several years ago, they've got that pad underneath them that velcros to the bottom of your hammock.
Yep.
And I'm going to tell you, that was awesome. I had no idea that it would work that well, because most of the time I just sleep in a sleeping bag and you feel that draft underneath you, but not with that quilt that attaches to the bottom of it.
Yep. Yeah, that thing was nice. It made it awful hard to get out of in the morning because it was so warm in there. And you didn't have to have a super heavy sleeping bag to make it either.
Yeah.
Just, again, your body heat, that thing was enclosed, so your body heat warmed it up. I'm not going to say it was 60 or 70 degrees in there, but it wasn't 20. Like, I know at least 2 of our trips to the Appalachians, it rained or snowed every day on 2 of the trips pretty much at one time or another. We did have a couple that we had good weather, but I'm hoping we have good weather on this one, but we still going. We walked in the snow and out in the rain a few times.
Yeah.
I do not sleep on a cot, Sherry. I usually carry, in the past, I've used them little bitty inflatable air mattresses. And this time I may tote in a twin because it's just comfortable. I mean, I can sleep like a baby out there. And another thing that's essential for me is a pee bottle. To keep in the tent, so you ain't got to get out.
Yeah.
I even learned to use that in that hammock, so I wouldn't have to get out that hammock. When it's cold, you don't want to get out, but you sure don't want to defile your bed either. So you got to be careful, very careful.
At this place that where we're going, I learned something from you, and it was in cold weather. And I don't know what you brought. You brought some, what do you call them, Crocs or whatever.
Yeah.
But when our feet got wet, you were able to take your shoes off and wear those Crocs and dry your shoes out by the fire.
Yeah.
And that was a fantastic idea, because if the ground's wet, you don't want to be walking around barefooted.
No.
And to be able to wear something and dry your boots out, that's invaluable. That's one thing that you want to do when you go to bed, is to change your socks when you go to bed, because if you've been hiking and you've got that moisture, your feet will just freeze at night. But if you put on a fresh pair of socks, that can make a world of difference. One thing that I do is those little hot hands that you put in your gloves. Now, if your core starts getting cold, that your body will pull that blood away from your extremities, your feet, your legs, your hands, your arms. But if you can keep your core warm, then you'll have that blood flow going to your extremities. So one thing that I do is when I lay down at night, I'll take a couple of those hot hands and put them on my chest, and not directly on my skin, but just like in between a shirt and jacket, and help keep my core warm.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. You keep your core warm, you're going to be able to make it. But it's easy to let it slip up on you if you're not careful. Hypothermia is just something that you don't really notice that quickly on your own. Other people will notice it before you do.
Yeah.
Because your speech will get slurred and everything else. So it's good to know symptoms of hypothermia too. So you can watch your buddies, or your buddies can watch you to make sure that everything's good. Because I know poor Kane, that fur coat episode, that next morning, he wasn't real good. I don't think he was hypothermic, but he was close. He was cold. Poor fella.
I'm going to tell you, that is miserable if you're laying in a hammock or wherever you're laying and trying to sleep, and you're shivering, freezing to death. That is the longest night that you will ever have, because it is absolutely miserable. You're so cold and shivering, you cannot go to sleep. You may drift off for a few minutes, but then you're waking right back up, and you're just freezing, and that's a miserable feeling.
Yeah, that night that Cam went with us, me, you, Eric, and Cam, it was that little thing I bought. My feet froze, and it was miserable. And then Kane said he almost froze, and I don't know. Our experiments on that one didn't work out that well, but we learned from it. We survived, but it don't hurt to try some of these products. But like this time, we're going to carry a backup in the vehicle just in case it's too miserable. We can hike out and get something else.
Yeah.
That's what Mark said anyway.
Well, it don't hurt to throw a hammock in there, just in case my tarp tent don't work out.
Mark, didn't you buy some wool?
I have a couple of pieces of wool. I don't have what I should.
Nor do I. I can't afford it. That stuff's got high.
Yeah. Was that wool that Kane Michael sent us that picture of him posing in?
Yeah, it was.
I could have gone the rest of my life without seeing him in his drawers.
Well, get used to it, because he's probably going to show you again.
I just hope he ain't wearing the yellow afro and the Batman mask when he does.
Yeah. Yep. Wool is expensive, for sure.
Yeah. Mark's got a lot of great ideas. What our people in chat, what's some things, that little tricks of the trade that y'all do whenever you're going to be out in the elements? So put them in all caps, and that way Larry can spot them pretty easy.
Maybe.
One thing that I would suggest now, Really Big Monkey will tell you a GPS is nothing but a piece of plastic to hold dead batteries.
Yeah.
And so that's one thing that you need to do is to every time we go on one of these trips, I put fresh batteries in it, whether it needs it or not. But I also carry a military compass. And with YouTube now, if you don't know how to read a compass, there's all kind of videos. And your smartphones, you can get compass apps on them. I cannot emphasize how important that is because I'm a lot like Larry. If I duck my head and go underneath something for a split second, I lose my orientation of the direction that I'm going in. And so you need to know how to read a compass. Take your compass reading before you go in and know how to get out. They're easy to read. You can set waypoints with the military compass on them. There's all kind of tricks that you can do. And sit down and say, I'm going to watch a 30-minute video on how to read a compass and how to get from point A to point B and back to point A. Because I remember that time, Larry, you and Kane got turned around.
Ooh.
Ooh.
I do too.
Ooh.
Oh, that was miserable.
We didn't know we was going to send out a search party.
Yeah, and the only thing that saved us is getting to the top of a mountain and getting cell signal where we could get a bearing on that compass and see where camp was and where our location was on a map and just take a compass bearing, and we went straight at camp up and down mountains. And it was rough, but we made it. Now Kane just comes skipping into camp. I come crawling into camp. You see, pocket-sized solar charging station. Yep, we do carry that. I do have a solar that don't work worth a crap for some reason, but the battery packs that you charge before, and it could be my battery pack that the solar charger is attached to that's not good. I don't know, but I do have those and I've taken them in the past, but just charging the battery pack works. Hey, you don't have to look at what Bradley's texting you.
He just told me.
Yeah, I know. But the charging station is something that is very useful to recharge your equipment out there. Our thermals, we can recharge them with the battery packs, and our phones, all that. Now, what did Bradley tell you? We aren't to brought him on. He knows all about primitive camping, don't he?
I tell you, he's a big game hunter. So he does know a little bit about going into the woods.
He goes to those ranches that are in a fence. Come on. You can't hide money. Papa Craig says polar fleece is warm when wet and dries way faster than wool. It also wicks moisture. You got any polar fleece, Mark?
I do. I do. It was something that I used when I was deer hunting 20 years ago that I bought.
Bring a waterproof windbreaker and pants or risk dying. That is very true.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a horrible feeling if you're sitting there wet.
Ooh.
And it's cold and the sun's going down.
And everybody around you is dry and calling you a whiner.
You said that like that came from experience.
Yeah, it has. Whenever my feet and shoes got wet, I think y'all said suck it up. Just stick your feet in the fire. They'll thaw out.
Yeah, I got a solar powered battery charger for Christmas, and it's really nice. And it's small. I think you can charge your phone like 2.5 times with it, but it's something that you can set out on a rock during the daytime in the sunlight to help charge it up. And if you're not playing too many games at night, Larry, then
Hey,
your phone should be charged.
guess what?
What?
When you don't have no signal, you can't play none.
All right, we got a little debate going here between polar fleece and wool.
Well, I think he was
that's
for
healthy.
polar fleece, but he just said it will ignite if you get too close to the fire.
Yeah.
And that's true. So will a sleeping bag, Mark. Mine went from below 30 to above 40 with all the aeration it's got in it. I may have to buy another one.
Who was we talking about a while ago that done a bunch of whining?
I don't know. That's one of my good traits there, whining. I always bring at least one large 3 mil cart. Yep, garbage bag. Yep, I agree with that.
Yeah. I've used them before fishing.
What'd you use it for?
I was trout fishing, and this was back before.
Was it brown trout?
No, I think all I got was rainbow trout. That time.
Oh, okay. Insulated coveralls work well whenever you're not mobile. They get you too hot whenever you're walking around, though.
Yeah,
but just sitting around camp, they're fantastic.
That's something else to talk about is when you're hiking in, you need to shed as much clothing as you can. Coats, heavy jackets, insulated pants, because you're cold when you take them off and you first start walking, but you're not going to walk 1/10 of a mile and all of a sudden you're going to start sweating in them.
Yeah.
And that's not good.
And I think the cook on South Park sung a song about what happens whenever you start sweating.
I'm afraid to ask.
I'm not going to say. Oh. He says while sleeping, they work great. Insulated coveralls. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good to wrap up layer while you're sleeping for sure.
Yeah.
Just order you some Eskimo gear. And it's going to get chilly. They walk in them all the time. Them Eskimos, they are more adapted to cold weather than any of us will ever be. That's for sure.
You know, something else that I've found that works good for me are gloves, and they're the aviator gloves, what the pilots use. They're super thick, they're insulated, They've
they're
got leather
fireproof.
pads. Yeah, they're fireproof. I've moved logs around that were coals and fire. They're thick, and because I hate it. I'm a type 1 diabetic, and so my extremities will get cold quick, and I hate it when my fingers get cold. That's one of my pet peeves is when my fingers get cold. And wearing these aviator gloves, my fingers don't get cold.
Yeah. Well, there's some good dialogue going on there in chat.
Yeah.
People are learning stuff from each other.
And I'm actually on my backpack, I've already rolled up. I got some bibs that are insulated. And so I'm going to go in with these bibs.
My good friend Jeff Townsend gave me some snow skiing pants.
Yeah.
And them things are fantastic.
Yeah.
They're comfortable and warm and waterproof slightly. So I usually put them on when I go to sleep. And I stay toasty with that and that Columbia jacket. God, I mean, I sleep like a baby except when the Bigfoot comes up messing with me. Tony Harris wanted you to check into the 10 C's of survival. And I'm afraid to ask what one of them C's is.
I'm going to write that down and I'll Google that. 10 C's of...
No notification from YouTube. Half the time from Mark's channel, I get them like a day later.
Yeah.
I think YouTube does it on purpose, but they're the ones making all the money. We ain't. Christy. She wants you to make sure you bring coconut oil, Mark.
Christy, is that a fire starter?
It probably is. Yeah, neoprene gloves do work in especially wet conditions to keep you dry and warm.
Yeah.
Is there still room for me and my wife? Is that at the meet and greet? Because if you're talking about the meet and greet, definitely.
Yeah.
I think till the field fills up, we got unlimited room. We could have a bunch of people out there.
Yeah.
Here's another. If mosquitoes are a problem, thermocells work great. They do work great.
Yeah. Larry's got one.
I've used them turkey hunting a lot. Them swamp hoes, you got to. You won't ever survive it. Here's something else about wool clothes. They're a tad bit heavy, but warm, dry, and wet, and very durable. Flat Rock says the notification's always the next day on most podcasts. That's how they keep everybody beat down, ain't it?
Yeah.
But what are some of the new things you're taking, Mark? Did you buy anything new?
Matter of fact, I did. And you're the one that turned me on to it.
Uh-huh.
And it is a camping chair, a hiking chair. And we do have hiking chairs, but this is a bad boy. It's got a high back on it. And I know you hadn't taken yours out of the box yet, Larry, but
yeah, I took it out of the box and I put it in the case.
Okay. But I'm telling you, that thing is comfortable. It sits a little higher off the ground than the camping chair.
Oh, yeah.
And so your feet, you don't feel like your kneecaps are up in your chin. And that thing is really nice. It weighs 3.5 pounds, so that's a good bit of weight.
Yeah.
But if you're going to be in a place for 4 days and 3 nights, comfort has a whole lot to do with your attitude. When, there's nothing worse than being cold all night long and shivering and waking up and you've got these places marked on Google Earth that you've been wanting to go and check out, and only thing you feel like doing is sitting around the fire, because you've been miserable all night.
Yep.
So
that's my life story. I don't think I'm going to test out no kilts. I heard the other day that you're not supposed to wear undergarments with kilts, and I'm not wearing a kilt out there in 20 degrees. I don't want my dangling participles to freeze. Oh, I see some people talking about the hex suit. Have y'all had more encounters with Bigfoot since you've been wearing the hex suits? I know they're supposed to cut down on your electromagnetic field that you put off.
I haven't tried one.
I haven't either. I've seen the TV shows, the commercials, and I don't know. I know at times it does seem that deer and stuff pick up on something you're putting off because they just look at you out of nowhere. But I have not tried one. I didn't know if they were gimmicky or not. Forrest Galante swears by them. Do you know Forrest Galante, Mark?
I do not, but throw that back up there. I'm gonna
write that down.
I'm gonna write that down. Mark, we appreciate all this information.
Yeah, we should have had you on the show talking. I have way more encounters with wild animals than wearing a het suit. All right. Thank you,
All right.
Papa. Swears by the hex suit. All right.
An experiment that I would like to try with that is anything battery operated. There's been so many times that we've been in the field and our batteries just go dead and we know they're charged up. And then after the interaction, you turn on your camera or whatever, and you got a fully charged battery. Why did it go dead whenever you felt like something was around you?
Yeah.
So what if you could put like a recorder in your pocket on the inside of that hex suit and see if the recorder goes dead?
Right.
At this place here that we're looking at on the video, I know me, you, Matthias, and Kane were hiking, and all of our equipment went dead. Everybody's equipment went dead at the same time and for the same amount of time. And so that was it was crazy. But what if you had something that was an electronic device that was on the inside of your hex suit? That would be an interesting experiment to try.
I agree. It's too bad they don't make a tent out of one that you could see through, like that 360 tent they got.
Yeah.
And then you could set one of them 360 cameras in there.
Yeah.
I just gave away my best idea. Never mind.
But that idea with the dryer lint, I save my dryer lint all year long
Right in his belly button. And if it's real bad, he picks it out and starts a fire with it. Oh, yeah. Good stuff. That's Survival 101 right there. Always check your belly button.
Survival 101.
I did see that on I don't know what it was, maybe Bear Grylls or something, one of them, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, there's that GPS right there. See it?
Yep. That's a
It's
nice one. Or are you going to activate that before we go?
If you remind me.
We'll be doing it on the drive in.
Yeah, and I may need to charge it too.
Oh.
I don't even know where it's at, to be honest. Last time I saw it was in the back of my Jeep.
Oh.
And now that I live where I live, it may not be there anymore.
Oh.
I don't know. I don't know.
I'm going to have to come over Saturday and we're going to do inventory.
It'd be a good idea to make sure I went out there and actually looked.
Yeah.
I'll sit down after I eat breakfast and I go, man, I got to do this. I got to do this. I got to do this. Oh, that's a good show on TV. Or I'm going to play a game for a little while. Next thing I know, it's 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
Play a game.
Oh, it's crazy. I mean, crazy. Thank you, Mark. They may already be here. Who knows? MacGruber. You ever watch MacGruber?
Yep. I watched it back in the day.
Well, don't watch it no more. It was MacGyver's what you watch. MacGruber's the knockoff comedy thing of it. Got you on that one. Let's see here. Here's the only picture of me eating chili. Matthias took it over his shoulder right there.
Blow that thing up.
It won't blow up. Well, maybe it will. Hold on. He caught me. I don't know how much it'll blow up, but that's right when it happened. That's as much as it'll blow up. See that content look on the left right there? That's content right there, that I'm just satisfied with a little fiber in my chili. And that's me going back for seconds right there. I didn't know he'd taken this picture till later and he posted it. And I was like, man, I'm glad he caught that moment. We do a lot of work when we're out there on these things, but we do have fun. We have more fun than we put in work because it's all pretty much fun.
Yeah.
With my poor heel and my knees the way they are, I don't know how much I'm going to keep up with Kane and Matthias, but we'll see. I'm going. I'll at least get in there and I'll get out at the very least. I will be wearing knee braces though.
You know, that's something that Bear used to always say. And I always held that close to my chest, is know your limitations.
Yeah.
And I'm a type 1 diabetic. If you've got any type of ailments or diseases, you need to be prepared for those when you go in. My little glucose meter, I have to wear that in a shirt close to my body during cold weather, because that thing will get so cold it won't work. And so I've got to try to keep it at 45 degrees or higher. So use your body temperature, and have a spare. There's nothing worse than sitting around camp and having a sugar low or sugar go high.
Or leaving your insulin in the vehicle whenever you make it out to your primitive camp.
And that has happened.
Yep.
We hadn't known each other too long whenever that happened. But that's one of those things that you learn from and you always remember, and don't repeat mistakes.
Yeah. Mitch has a question for you, and maybe you can answer it.
Mitch asked, do you have to bring insulin and syringes with you? I do have to. I take 3 different types of insulin every day, and they are in a pen, and so it's really easy. I just bring in my 3 pens and my glucose meter, and I'm good to go. And I always go through a checklist of things that I do. Don't try to do things at night. If you've got medication that you have to take, then take it before it gets dark, and so that you can see what you're doing. I've got a checklist of things that I go through whenever the sun is starting to set. You want to make sure that you've got your nighttime gear ready to go. Your such as your lights. You don't want to be digging around in a backpack looking for your headlamp when you done turned around and it's got pitch black on you. You can make things easy for yourself, or you can make things hard for yourself.
Yep. Talk about the headlamp. I got you.
Man, Larry got me a really a cool headlamp, and it's so many times it seems like sometimes we ought to have a jar that we keep by the campfire for every time that you forget to turn one of these bright headlamps off and you're blinding everybody and you don't realize that you're blinding everybody.
Yeah.
But this is going to be a great campfire light that you can leave on and not be blinding everybody. Because most of the time, like when we eat our supper, we're eating at night. And, you want to turn on a light so that you can see what you're doing. And this light that Larry got me, it's not going to blind everybody.
Hopefully not. Can you recharge headlamps in the field with a marine battery? We normally don't take a marine battery, but you could. We usually take a battery pack that's smaller, but yes, we do recharge our headlamps out in the field.
Because my main light that I have for a headlamp, Debbie Jones turned me on to it, and I think she bought you one, and she's got one. But I'm going to tell you, we've been on many week-long excursions, and the battery on this lamp has lasted up to 6 days. And it has the ability to be able to charge something such as a cell phone off the battery pack of it. So that kind of gives you a dual purpose. And I'm going to bring both headlamps with me, just simply for that reason. Is I always do carry 2 headlamps. I may carry a little small compact one that like go on the bill of your hat or whatever, but you don't want to find yourself out 4 miles in the wilderness and something happened and batteries die or whatever, and that's your only source of light.
Yeah. Usually I have a decent little flashlight with me also, just in case one of those the headlamp goes out. But I don't know. Those headband lights, they're a lot more comfortable than those older ones.
Yeah.
Definitely. I'm not sure how long they're going to last. They are LED lights. They may last longer. I don't know, but we'll see. Always bring 2 headlamps or learn to see in the dark. And your eyes will adjust even on the darkest night, but that ain't nothing you want to be doing if you got boogers somewhere close to you.
Yeah.
That makes it a little too much fun there. But what else, Mark?
I think we've kind of covered the main things.
Well, I think so too. If you'd just pack my pack for me, it'd all be better. You
might not want me to do that. I may put some of my stuff in your pack.
Yeah, that's probably true. I have carried other people's stuff before, but I don't think this time I'm going to volunteer for that.
Yeah.
What are we eating this time?
It's probably going to be cold. So, and we kind of talked about chili, but we got that meat market, in that town south of us.
Yeah.
What do you think about filet mignon?
Ooh, I think it'd be delicious.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah. Yeah.
And their filet mignons are huge. They're not like those little round ones that are prepackaged. These things are huge.
Yeah. That sounds good. Very good. Oh, there's a lot of stuff going on in chat.
I can't even keep up with it.
I don't think you're supposed to. But Rodney's got to go. Good night, Rodney.
See you, Rodney.
I think Larry's about to have to go too.
Yeah.
I got to get up a little earlier in the morning to make sure I can ice skate all the way to work. So I can get there and they can say, well, we got some training for you to do. But who knows? Maybe Memphis International Airport's out and I got to go work on that. Who knows?
Yeah.
Hopefully not. I know a lot of the tree limbs were breaking as I was driving down the road today. So with the wind picking up overnight and a little more snow packed on there, it could get ugly. But so far the power's held up. The internet only screwed up once.
Yeah. Well, I think we've had a good discussion.
Yeah.
One thing that I might suggest is try to learn from others, because that one trip that Matthias, Eric Tippin, brought that water filter, and I don't know how much water that thing held. It held several liters.
I think it was 60 or 80 liters.
Yeah.
I think.
It was nice just to be able to walk over to the tree and turn the valve on and fill up your water bottle.
Yeah.
Or your cooking pot or whatever you had, and not have to sit there and boil water before you cook something or drink something.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Mark, are you still there?
I'm here. Are you going out?
Your picture froze.
Oh. Well, maybe we ought to wrap this up.
It's a good time to wrap it up.
Yeah. So, one thing that I might suggest even if you're just going on a couple of hour hike, um, just think about bringing stuff like a Mylar blanket that weighs absolutely nothing. Bring you some protein bars, a water filter, uh,
Fire
be
starter.
fire starter. Think about things that if something happened and you wasn't able to make it back out to your vehicle, what would get you through the night. And there's all kind of great videos on YouTube that you can watch to find out what essentials that
Yeah.
you need to be able to get you through the night.
And I promise you it's important, because Kane and I went and we thought we were just going to go look up a little hilltop from a creek or a mountain. And we went down on the other side and just thought all we got to do is go back up and go down, and we're back at camp. And we got totally lost. And we were divvying up. I had a candy bar, a bottle of water, a fire starter, and that was about it. I can't remember what Kane had, but we were already divvying up because we were expecting to stay out there that night.
Yeah.
And luckily we got to the top of the mountain, and I got signal enough to see where camp was, and we made it back to camp about right at dark, pitch dark. But anyway, man, that was miserable. But always, whenever you plan these outings, plan for your safety, plan for your comfort, and plan for fun. Because hopefully you won't need the safety, but it's good to have if you need it.
Yeah.
Just be prepared. Anything can happen out there at any time. And normally it ain't because of a booger. It's because of our own stupidity.
Yeah.
So
unforeseen events.
Yeah. Yep. But anyway, who's on next week?
I am working on that. It's
your show next week.
It'll be on Beast TV next week.
All right. So tune in to the Sawdust channel next Thursday, 8:00. And we are going to get off of here. We hope everybody has a safe evening and they stay warm. Those of y'all that are getting hit by this ice storm, be careful if you have to get out. And if you don't have to get out, don't do it for a day or two. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to do it.
Let's whine before we go.
Anyway, it's good to be the king.
So say the bucket boy.
Yeah, that's me, the bucket boy. All right, everybody. Y'all have a good night.
Night, footers.